Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another tier list video. This is going to be for casters this time, and then tomorrow's video, or whenever I do the next tier list, it'll be probably either on the easiest class, or 3v3, what the best 3v3 classes are, or solo shuffle. I'm not really sure yet what I'm going to do for that, but now we're going to do we did the melee, now we're going to do the good old-fashioned caster. Before we start this video, if you're interested in carries, coaching, or other services, make sure you hit me up on my personal Discord down below in the description. I know a lot of people have said in the comments I say good old fashioned or fasciante, so I'll make sure I try to, tone that down. Usually my catchphrases randomly will pop up like a unstoppable ad, where you just can't skip the ad and you gotta just watch through it. So it may be another situation. So we're only doing casters, ladies and gentlemen. This is every caster in the game. Now, we're going off of beta, we're going off of everything, whatever my current knowledge is. So if I've watched beta gameplay, which I actually have, we're putting everything on the table right now, and we're gonna make people mad. Make America great again, is what we're gonna do. So, here we go. First of all, we are gonna be starting off with Boomie. Boomie is going to be A tier. This might end up changing, but so far Boomie's been okay, but it hasn't been great. It's definitely not. It's not S tier, but it's A tier, and it's not B tier, but it's it's good, but it's not going to be the best. Next one we're going to be going with Affliction Warlock. In this type of meta, I think it'll be A tier. Affy is going to do a good amount of damage, but there's going to be a lot better casters that you can play that just do unhealable damage in a shorter period amount of time, and you're going to be really looking to play those ones. For the next one here, we're going to be going with Destro Warlock. It's going to be in the same category. Again, you're doing a lot of instant damage with kills bullets, but at the same time, you're still having to cast. And I don't think the reward's as good as like Frost Mages, Dev Evoker, Ellies. Like when you pop CDs on those classes, they're doing damage. When you pop CD, there isn't really a cooldown. There isn't bursts on Destro Warlock. You kind of just, you're kind of just always having damage pretty much. So it's going to be also an A tier. All three are playable, but not S tier. Next one here, we're going to be going with Arcane. Arcane is going to be, I think it's honestly going to be not good, to be honest. I don't know if it's going to be great. I haven't seen any of it. I haven't seen any big buffs of it. All I've seen is Frost Mage just absolutely dominating. I've seen Fire Mage. Obviously, Fire Mage AoE is getting nerfed, so I assume it'll go down to an A tier. But Arcane-wise, it's not going to be the best of the three, unless it gets randomly buffed. Fire Mage and Frost Mage are just going to be a lot better. So this may end up changing, but everything I've seen is just, it's fun to play and everything, but overall it's not great. Next one here, we're going to be going with good old fast Frost Mage, which I think will end up being S tier. I've seen beta Frost Mage and I've seen pre-patch. Now on the beta, it's doing almost like 770k a second, and that's obviously on burst. And it's gonna be doing, if it doesn't get a massive nerf, or at least and it probably needs a 7 to 10% nerf. Like that's how strong it is of what I've seen. So Frost Mage is gonna be your ideal mage spec to play. So if you're looking to play mage, you're gonna be wanting to play Frost. That's just what. So like Demonology Frost Mage, unless it gets nerfed, it's gonna be very good this season. I played that season 4 and I got the 2400 in threes with it, and it was B tier at the time. Like Frost Mage was B tier. So with Frost being S tier, we should have no problem with getting a good old fashioned free Druid Glad. So that's pretty much that. The next one here, we're going to be going with Fire Mage. Fire Mage will end up being an A tier. They're nerfing the AoE damage, so it's not going to be doing what it's been doing, especially in RBGs or like in Blitz. So, I think it'll be good, but it's definitely not S tier. S tier is going to be the top dogs. And then B tier, at least Fire Mage is going to be doing damage, and it's, I don't think Arcane, I don't think Arcane can compete with these two specs, or just in general specs here. Like Boomie is going to be better, Affliction is going to be better, Destro is going to be better. So unless we see like a buff from Arcane, we're not really going to see a lot of them, and yeah, that's pretty much that. The next one here we're going to be going with is Ellie. Ellie is going to be an S tier. Obviously, if there's big, I haven't seen, even on the forums and all that, they ended up nerfing something, but then they buffed Lava Burst. This class is going to be a good old-fashioned Big damn. That's all I can say, really. It's gonna be good. It's definitely gonna be good. Really good. If not the best caster in the game. Between Ellie and Evoker, both those are gonna be your ideal specs to play. So that's pretty much where Ellie is. Now we're gonna be going with Restlesham because this isn't just DPS. This is just caster specifically. So healers obviously count as a caster. So I've seen some beta Restlesham, and honestly, overall, it could be S tier. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen them doing. Well, I watched Sea actually right before he got off, and he was doing a lot of healing. But then again, he was facing an H bow when I saw him, so I'm gonna end up putting it at A tier for now. But because of based off of what I've seen, but it could easily rise up to S tier if it just depends on the situation. If they buff it a little bit more, it's gonna be S tier. If they nerf it, it's gonna be A tier. So pretty much it's at high A. It's gonna be really good to play. You're gonna really enjoy it. It's just Riptide spamming, and that's pretty much all it is. So that's pretty much Restlesham. It's gonna be very good to play. Not a bad class at all. For the next one here, we're gonna be going with what do we want to go with? I don't know if we want to count BM as a caster. I mean, technically, wouldn't it be a caster? Because we'll count Hunter as a caster. We'll just count it as a caster because technically, I'd say technically it is a caster. That's just what we're gonna do. So BM is going to be most likely A tier. BM's always in the category of it does a lot of damage and consistency, and it has a burst pretty frequently. Obviously, it's not going to be S tier. It's not going to be doing 800k a second or 700k a second, but it definitely has its opportunity. I've definitely seen some, and they've been pumping, but I don't know if they're going to be S tier. Obviously, they're usually always at A tier, but nobody really plays it because everyone just plays S tier. So we'll see about that. MM, honestly, MM's not looking great anymore. The reason MM was so good in season 4 of Dragonflight is because of its pressure during its burst, and then even off its burst, it had pressure. Like you were still able to kill. Like your aim shots were still 40%. Your aim shot rapid fires were literally killing somebody, and now it's not going to be. So currently, I'd say it's B tier. I have yet to see a single MM hunter. So unless they need a buff again. When you put a class like this and they really rely off their burst, and then you nerf their burst. If you nerf them, I can understand this. I'm fine with they need to do it like sub rogue. MM when they pop cooldowns, they need to be a sub rogue. They need to be a Wind Walker. They need to be a fire mage. They need to be anything that like a dev evoker. Anybody that's playing a class that relies off your burst, they should have the same burst damage as a dev evoker during their burst. That's it. Not the entire game, not mini procs, just on their burst specifically. So that's what I feel about that. Obviously, the game's not based off of burst. The game's based off of max PvE, so that's unfortunate. But that's how I feel about BM right now. The next one here we're going to be going with is we'll go with Druid. Obviously, we know Druid's going to be S tier. Druid's the best healer in the game right now. Uh, it's just insane, and it got buffed again. So, yeah, this spec's going to be insanely good. If you're looking to play healer, now's the time to play. I mean, Wrestler's always usually good. It's in good hands usually, and it'll be good in Blitz. It'll be good in Solo Shuffle, Arena, RBGs, all that. It should be good in every category. So, if you're looking to play Wrestler, now's the time to play it. The next one here we're going to be going with this good old-fashioned Monk. Mistweaver Monk is going to be an S tier. Right now in Blitz, it's doing unhealable. And it really, in general, it's doing very good. I'd say it's below Resident, but it's actually playing really well right now. So you're going to see a lot more Mistweavers. I think if it gets a buff again, just even of 3%, 4%, it could definitely compete. What I mean by compete is I mean by being able to actually 1v1 it and being able to out heal it or being able to go like right now it's a little bit below, but overall it's going to be very good. It's going to be way better than it was and a lot more viable because you used to not really see anything but like the two classes, the evoker and wrestle druids, and you really even saw that. So all you really saw was wrestle druids and evokers, and actually I saw way more evokers than I seen wrestle druids to be honest. Evoker was just controlling everything a lot of the time. But next one we're going to be going with is the good old fashioned priest. I've already said good old fashioned 3 times, including the time that I just said that. That's questionable is all I'm gonna say about that one. Next one, Disc Priest. I actually underestimated it. I've watched people play it, and honestly, I honestly think I'm trying to think where I want to put this. Right now, I'll put it in A tier, but I think if these get nerfed even a little bit, a disc will. These classes could come up on top. Like these are easily almost S tier, by the way. I hope you guys know that. They do an. They're really good. So if these get nerfed just slightly, this will be able to go in S tier. I'm just not gonna put them on S tier just because they're not quite there. They would need like a 3%, 3 to 5% buff just to be able to like, you know, that's what I think. But there is a high chance that these classes do get nerfed, and all it takes for Resolute or Mistweaver to get like just those top S tier, just slightly, and Disc and Restless Shaman will take their they'll grab him by the feet, drag him down in the mud, and they'll be competing on a fair playing field. You know what I'm saying? But the next one here we're gonna be going with is Evoker is what we'll go with. Evoker is going to be, if not the best DPS, it's going to be number 2. I've seen the most damage I've seen a class do so far has come from a Evoker. They're doing consistency of 800 to 850k burst damage nonstop for give or take about 20 seconds is what I've seen. They literally don't stop having damage. I've seen immense amount of damage. So I'd say it goes Ellie because of the consistency, and then Dev's behind it very short, like by maybe 2%. Just because, I mean, if they're like basically right on each other's, toes, and then Frost is a little bit behind that, just because off their burst they're okay, but they're not as strong as Ellie or Evoker. So, those are going to be good options to play on. Obviously, if they get a fat nerf, we'll see, but I'm basing this off the beta as well of what I've seen as well, so we'll see what happens, really. The next one here, we're going to be going with Prez, and Prez is going to be an S tier. Prez is going to be probably the secondary healer, if not the best healer. It's going to be between Wrestle Druid and Prez Evoker right now. Mistweaver is going to be slowly behind. Disc and Wrestle Sham are going to be a little bit slower behind Mistweaver. Maybe they're equal, so there could be a chance I could put Mistweaver down here. The thing is, in overallness, I feel like, because this can compete in Blitz and RPG, so I'm putting that in, like, I'm trying to equal out all PvP in general, instead of just doing, solo shuffle. This is like a full-out caster. This is the entire PvP, everything. And I feel like this just excels in RPG so much in Blitz that it just kind of equals out to be an S tier. But, it could easily be high hay, like very high, like where these guys are, just because Evoker and Restorator are so strong. But I'm gonna put it here, but take it with a grain of salt. These could easily come up to S tier. These could easily just be on top. Obviously, Restorator and Evoker is gonna be a little bit higher, but these are easily playable and good, if not S tier again. So I'm gonna keep it there for now, and yeah, that's pretty much what I'm. Again, this could easily be down here. And honestly, I'm tempted to do this instead, based off of what I've seen. Oh, it's just rough. I'm trying to like equal it out here. The thing is, on beta, I haven't seen a single Mistweaver in solo shuffle. I've seen Disc Priest, I've seen Prez Evoker, I've seen Wrestle Druid. Do I want to put a Disc Priest where Wrestle Druid and Evoker is? Probably not. So instead, I'm gonna do this. So I think this makes more sense. And obviously, I think Mistweaver is gonna be, if not the better one, I'll just keep it here. So we're gonna do this. I think this makes sense. I don't think a Mistweaver is as strong, but they're right below. Like these three can easily just, take them down in the mud. But I think Prez Evoker and Restorator are gonna be your top healers again. Just same thing as Season 4 and the entire expansion of Dragonflight, pretty much. But these are easily playable. If not S tier, they're super close, like high A plus. So these are gonna be really fun to play. They're definitely not. You definitely can win. Next one here we're going to be going with is Augmentation. Is going to be, yeah, pretty trash. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to put it with MM, or at least MM on Arcane are like playable in the sense of you can just mess around. Aug, if you mess around in it, you're going to lose. There's no messing around on it. There's just simply, pure luck. So, unfortunate. The next spec here we're going to be going with is Warlock, which we kind of already went through. I forgot all about Demo. Demo is a strange spec. The problem is Demo is never about its burst damage, it's about its control. So no matter what, Demo is going to be an A tier spec. You're going to have you're going to see a immense amount of Demo Frost Mage, Druid, and I guarantee you're going to see a lot of them. You're going to see a lot of Demo SP possibly, just a lot of demos with everything. Demo DK. So regardless, Demo is going to be very good, and you're going to see a lot of these. For the next one here, we're going to be going with good old-fashioned SP. So SP overall is going to be A tier. Again, it doesn't matter if it's not one-shotting, because again, none of these really one-shot. They just have pressure, and they have a lot of, they help your team. SP is that one class. You have control, you have CC, and you have damage on the side with burst. That's pretty much an ideal spec. Obviously, it's not gonna be an S tier, but it's not gonna be B tier either. So it's still playable. A tier is still playable and not bad at all. But S tier is gonna be just an entire different league. When you face these guys, you're gonna think the game's just unbalanced and not fair. That's how strong these other classes are. Next one here we're gonna be going with is HPAL. HPAL is gonna be. It actually got nerfed. So if you guys didn't know, they buffed they nerfed Holy Shock by like 15% after they buffed it. I don't know who's doing the changes, but I've never seen people just so like between Sub Rogue and HPALs and maybe like Enhancement Shaman, just all the below specs, the moment they get good, they get absolutely just butchered. And Sub Rogue's gonna be next, because I've seen Sub Rogue doing pretty good in the beta. And I've seen Assassination Rogue doing pretty good, and they also got a buff. But again, by the time the release comes out, so if you think the odds of Rogue being really good is going to be, it'll be good for a week, but then once people realize how broken it is, Blizzard goes in and they butcher it by like 40%, and then it goes back to, oh, Assassination Rogue is the meta. I don't know why I'm talking about sub, but that's why I'm trying to relate it to. H-File is going to be your ID spec to not play. Obviously, for fun, you can make it work. If you're really good, you can make it work. But I'm telling you, I was playing on when I when I got banned, I have an alt account for say that I got 2900 plus in literally a week and a half on Rusted on solo shuffle, and then I played my HPO and I got basically up to 2600. Obviously, rank 1 was like, it ended up being like 2850 or something. But it was so much harder. It was almost like I've never had to play as good as I've ever had to play playing on my HPL. So that's just like a perspective of even I've never probably lost life force playing HPL. That's how bad it is. Insane. So next one here is gonna be Holy Priest. Holy Priest is gonna be same spot really. Again, Holy Priest doesn't have a problem healing in the sense of it has burst healing. Holy Priest's problem is it doesn't have defensive cooldowns. I don't know what people don't understand about Holy Priest. It could have a lot of unless its healing is literally like a Rusted, it'll never be good unless RMP is good. The only time you ever saw Holy Priest is when it was literally literally you were able to top somebody off every single heal, no problem, and they never ran out of mana, and they had damage, and they had everything. You could incap somebody, you can go fear them. What I mean by incap is that one ability, Chastise, and now they have a stun obviously, but it's just not as good. So yeah, if they can they either have to have super OP healing, like you'd have to literally make these guys into a basically in just a steroided Rusted, except with Serenities. Like their Swiftmans, how they NS heal, NS regrowth with Swiftman proc. They need to do that on every Serenity of Holy Priest in order to make it viable. That's just the facts. Otherwise, you'll never see a Holy Priest, you'll never see an HPL. Obviously, I'm talking specifically about Holy Priest. But next one here we're going to be going with is... I don't know if there's any more, actually. I think we actually went through them all. So that it looks like it is it for the casters, ladies and gentlemen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm trying to look over this one more time before we go. The S tier is looking pretty much good for casters though. Ellie, Evoker, Frost Mage, Rusted, and Present Evoker. Obviously these are right behind them, if not S tier. These are going to be really good and really fun to play. And then the only DPS that I could say might be up in S tier is if maybe Affy. Just depend maybe Affy or Destro. It really just depends if they get a buff before the expansion comes out or if there's something that we don't know yet. But these are very close to being S tier. If they get like if basically Destro turns into a Dev and Affy turns into an Ellie, that's really the change that it would like need. Like how Ellie one shot you randomly, that's what Affy used to do. It just randomly you got bleeds on everybody and people just rotted. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to see another tier list, let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. Otherwise, I'm gonna be reading all your guys' comments, and I'll see how bad this tier list is. You guys can let me know. But otherwise, have a good rest of your night or day. Make sure you check out my community Discord below. Look out my community posts because obviously I'm gonna be posting there, and you guys can vote what you want to see, and that'll pretty much be it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace, peace.